My friend Crystal has 3 kids, 2 of which are in 7th and 11th grade. Her youngest one, Annabelle, will be starting kindergarten next fall. A few weeks ago, she went down to the local elementary school to ask about when enrollment would be for her daughter. When she was there, she had overheard some people in the back of the room talking about something called the Common Core. Now, she was really curious about what the Common Core was because they were obviously complaining about what it was. So she had kindly asked the secretary what it was about. But surprisingly, all the secretary could tell her was that the Common Core was something called, it was new state standards for California and for every other state in the United States. So far, 45 states have adapted to these new standards. California has adapted to the reading and English part. There are also science, history, and other new things to the standards. California will be starting this in 2014-2015. Since this was all the secretary could tell her, she still had a lot of questions as to what it was. She had come with one of her questions answered, but she had left with a lot more questions concerned about the Common Core. She wanted to know about her children's education, how it was going to affect them. So today I'm going to inform you about what the Common Core is, why they decided to design the Common Core the way it is, and how it's going to affect your children in the long run. So what the Common Core basically is apparently it's new state standards for the United States. But not every state will be adapting to these. California has decided to adapt to these because a lot of their kids in California have low reading standards, as well as a lot of kids who aren't graduating high school or are graduating high school, transferring to college, and not doing the best they can. CommonCoreStandards.org posted in 2012 on their website that the new Common Core standards are designed to be robust and relevant to the real world for students that are going to be in elementary school and progress. Common Core is going... Okay. The new state standards will come into effect in 2014-2015. The reason why they have these standards are because of everything going on in the United States. Lindsay Layton of the Washington Post had posted in 2013 that the new standards are going to involve such things as new typing and internet research, because now in schools they're doing a lot more research papers and having to learn a lot more about things in school. So now that I've told you about the Common Core, I'm going to inform you about why they decided to design the Common Core. Since a lot of schools now, the high schools, they can't transfer, or students that transfer to other states decide to go to college, they don't really, say that our standards here in California are different than the standards in Florida. So when kids graduate from school here in California and they progress to a different school in Florida, their standards there are different. So when they take the placement test, the testing there isn't the same as it was here. So kids that were taking AP classes or got straight A's all throughout their school years might transfer and realize that they placed in a remedial English, math class, science class, so forth. Because of the new standards, this won't happen. It's going to also help kids with their reading and help them progress in school so they can get better grades and be more confident once they go out into the workforce. And so after I told you about that, I'm going to explain to you exactly how it's going to affect all of your children. It's going to affect your children, each and one of your kids, because it's going to affect the kids learning English as a second language, kids learning special education students, and kids who are just your normal kids who are sitting in class. All of these standards will be taught to each and one of your students, but it's not a day-by-day lesson plan. It's a whole outline of what your students are supposed to be learning. It just tells you the basics of, by the end of the school year, what's supposed to happen is that your kids are supposed to know the basics of English, reading, math, and they're also going to be testing at the end of the school year. Instead of having to test on such things as the things that they're testing on now, which is the state testing at the end of the year, it's going to be called the Common Core testing. It can be taken on a computer, or it can be taken with a pencil and a paper as they do now. So now that I've explained to you about the Common Core, what it is, why they designed it, and how it's supposed to affect your children in the long run. It's going to affect them because of all the reasons I've just gone over. Now, now that I've told you about this, now most of your questions have been answered, so you don't end up like Crystal and have to leave the office with as many questions as she had. It's also going to affect your children, but it's not going to affect her 11th grade student because next year he's going to be in 12th grade. And what happens is that the Common Core and the state standards as of right now don't affect the way your children graduate, it only affects them in the classroom. It will be affecting her 8th grade student because as he goes on to the next school year and so forth, he will be learning these new standards, but they will just be adapting into what the standards are now. They'll just be moving them into it slowly. So I hope that I've answered your questions, and thank you.